Okay, where qualified immunity got its start. Qualified immunity was created by the Supreme Court in 1967 in the case of Pearson versus Ray. The doctrine was originally intended to protect government officials from frivolous lawsuits and financial liability when they acted in good faith and under unclear legal situations. The Supreme Court later redefined the doctrine in 1982, creating a new test to determine when officials are protected from liability. So it started with Pearson versus Ray, the good faith, right here. We'll go to Wikipedia, all right? The good faith clause. Okay. Pearson versus Ray was a United States Supreme Court case in which the court first introduced the justification for qualified immunity for police officers being sued for civil rights violations under Section 1983 by arguing that a policeman is not so unhappy that he must choose between being charged with dereliction of duty of he does not rest when he had probable cause, but being look at it in damages if he does. Okay. Background. Okay. Okay. The case refers to an incident in Jackson, Mississippi, where 15 Pentecostal priests were arrested after entering the coffee shop at the local Trailways bus terminal. The group were a part of 28 priests from Pentecostal Society of Cultural and Racial Unity, taking part in Mississippi Freedom Rides, traveling from the deep south to the Great Lakes, meeting on the evening of September 11, 1961, New Orleans. They left the following day on a chartered bus, which would take them via Macomb to Toluga, a small town outside of Jackson. They would then split three groups traveling north. Incident. On September 13, 1961, a group of 15, including three black priests, took taxis from Toluga into a nearby Jackson Trailways bus terminal to catch a bus to Chattanooga. When entering a coffee shop to have lunch before their departure, they were stopped by two policemen, Officer David Allison, Nicholas Joseph David, who asked them to leave. All the priests refused to leave. Captain J.L. arrested and jailed all 15 priests for a breach of peace using a now repealed section of Mississippi Code 2087.5 that makes guilty a misdemeanor of anyone who congregates with others in a public place under circumstances such as a breach of peace may be occasioned thereby and refuse to move when ordered to do so by police officers. The group included 35-year-old Reverend Robert L. Pearson, who was a son-in-law to the Republican governor of New York, Nelson Rockefeller. They were brought to trial before a local judge, James Spencer, who found them guilty, breach of peace, and sentenced them to 4 months in jail and a $200 fine. After raising the money for bail, they appealed the case to the Narvo and Hinds County Court. The case against the priest was dismissed by Judge Russell Moore, showing no violation of law. Direct verdict. Civil claims for damages under Section 1893, requested by Charles Reichland, Chief Legal Counsel at Congress, Racial Equity. He sought damages in Jackson District Court before Judge Sidney Lees, alleging that the police and the local judge had violated Section 42, 1983 of the 1870 Ku Klux Klan Act by false imprisonment for exercising civil rights. However, the jury found in favor of the police, who said they were trying to prevent imminent violence from a gathered crowd, contradicting the evidence of the priests. On appeal, the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit found that a local judge was immune from liability for his decision, although the appeal court found that the Mississippi Code unconstitutional, found that Mississippi law does not require police officers to predict at their peril or which state laws are constitutional, which are not. I remember Thurgood Marshall, U.S. Supreme Court, It was codified that any law repugnant to the U.S. Constitution is null and void, cannot be enforced, thus law established, or anybody can be arrested for it. And this was based on white priests sitting with black priests. And the sign said coloreds only. And the police weren't very appreciative of it. So when it was, of course, 61, civil rights movement, protest for equal rights, civil rights, it's guaranteed in the Constitution, that all are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Amongst these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and deprived of that, it is depriving the rule of law. The rule of law requires that everyone treated equally under the color of law, and that's what they're talking about, or the violation of the rule of law, as well as the United States Constitution. Okay. But anyways, that's where qualified immunity started. Somebody put a whole lot of stupid into that, But see, now, a lot more, people nowadays are a lot smarter than they were back then. I was around back then, and I couldn't understand that. Why are they so many people violating the rule of law? I still can't understand it right now. That is, in a nation of laws, the only king is the rule of law. The Constitution was written, the United States Constitution is what the Declaration and the fruits of the United States Constitution was written to serve and protect we the people, and our public servants are trustees, not there to rule over us, but to guide us in our endeavors to succeed as a nation. Okay, but there you have it, where qualified immunity started. I mean, how many people had a legal education, to argue that? I mean, that was not in the public interest. Qualified immunity is repugnant to the rule of law, legally speaking, of course. In the public interest, take note, qualified immunity is repugnant to the rule of law, the key principle of any and every republic, of every democracy. All right, people. Number peace and love for you. All right. I just thought you should know. I've always found issues with this. Legally speaking, rule of law overrides qualified. It's qualified. They knowingly and willingly are breaking law. But I mean, it's that qualified immunity was made under the color of the law. In technical and legal terms, because it violates the rule of law. You can read about it yourself. Arresting priests for sitting with other priests. If this was a Christian nation, we are not a theocracy, we are a democracy, but actually a corporatocracy or cooperacy. I mean, legally speaking, it's if the basic obligations were actually lived up to and enforced, we wouldn't be living with a corporacy. We'd actually have a democracy. We'd actually have rule of law. As a nation, we wouldn't be living under the color of law. I'm just speaking to you in legal terms. Judicial immunity. We'll talk about that in the future. This is about qualified immunity and where it got its start. And ever since then, public servants has been tossing it around and using it, to do what's in their best interest, not yours. In every law I showed you, all public servants are required, legally required, to do what's in the public interest, not self-service, not in the interest of the bar, not parochial interest, not political interest. In the public interest. What is in the best interest of we, the people. Remember who you are. Nothing, peace, and love to you. All right, have a good day. I think I went over this before, but I just thought I'd go over it again. I was having some really bad headaches, and when I was younger, I've had a headache about since I read about this. But yeah, that's where qualified immunity started. I know, peace and love for you. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you a long life and good health.